So I read an awesome article, very fascinating, about DFW home profits in 2023. So for sellers that sold their home last year. So DFW home sellers scored an average of $112,500 in profit last year when they sold. And that estimated seller profit last year was more than 4 times than what it was in 2013.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Well, and it's funny because we, of course, Genevieve and I do a lot of listings together, and we have the people that are still stuck in 2022, 2021, where they're like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was going to make, they want this. And I will openly admit, I just sold my house at the end of 2023, and I was like really mad because I was like,
but then you have to remind them, you bought this house for this much. I mean,
absolutely.
Where else could you invest your money and have it soar to that high of a return within that short of a period?
Short of a period of time. And it's one of those things that I always kind of try to tell the buyers, or the sellers, depending upon their situation. We'll talk to people that, maybe had young kids at the time and the mom was staying home or the dad was staying home. And I'm like, I look at it in the way that you made all this money staying home and being able to take care of your kids and kind of being there. And that was a big part of it that I took away for myself too, because I was a full-time stay-at-home mom for 8 of the years that we lived in that house. And
they call it a homemaker.
I was a homemaker. I was the in-home project manager was my official title during that time. And, we lived frugally on one income, but at the end of the day, I took that equity and I rolled it into our dream house. And it's like, you can't be mad about that.
When after we bought our first home, for a split second, I thought I wanted to move to Austin. And we bought our first home in, I want to say maybe 2007.
What city was that?
It was in Fort Worth, right near Fort Worth, Roanoke. It was kind of like we were Fort Worth, but yet address to Roanoke. It took me a while to figure that out. But I think it was in 2009, 2008, like a couple years after. That's when we had the big mortgage crisis, and I wanted to sell our home. And I realized at that point, meeting with the realtor, because I didn't have a license yet, we would have had to bring money to the table. Mm-hmm. And when I started real estate, people had to pay to get out of their home. Sellers were bringing checks in order to clear.
Wow, interesting.
And so, although it is
in that time frame, or just in general?
I got licensed in like 2014. No, 2013. Yeah, 2014. Mm-hmm. And at that point, at the closings, people had to pay. They were still paying.
It's crazy because I lived in Florida during the huge crash, and of course, Florida was like a dumpster fire with the investment properties there. Actually, the house that I talked about being sad selling, we got it in foreclosure. It was a short sale, and but it was crazy because we got it, I want to say 200, and we're talking, a long time ago now. We got it for like $280,000 less than the people had purchased it for.
Wow! And so they lost $200,000.
They lost $280,000.
How much they put down.
Well, it was an investor, and they did a very special
treat. Not a very good investor.
Not a very good investor. But it was crazy. But from the time we got it's also playing the long game when you're in a market like that, because from the time we put in the short sale offer to getting it accepted was 10 months.
But this is also the home that you said that now.
Oh,
you wish you had
Lamborghini house.
So it's like they say when the market's
you just
low,
have to wait.
Yeah.
You have to wait it out.
Time it because it went down actually after we got into it.
You can time it if you're smart and you watch what's happening.
And you're lucky though too.
So I'm actually selling one of my rental properties this year. And I think it's perfect timing. Mm-hmm. So we bought it, and so this is a really interesting story. The seller, it was I got a call from an out-of-state woman, and she said, "My father, he's like retired.
He was like 90,
yeah, like
right?
nursing home age, but he lived in his house because it was during COVID, and they were afraid that if they put him into the nursing facility, they wouldn't be able to see him, which is true. Yeah. And so as soon as COVID lifted, they were able to get him into the nursing facility. But she lived out of state, and she was like, he can't do showings. And this was in Lantana. And so I met with him, and I remember he sat like in this big recliner with a dog on his lap. And he was old. I mean, like you said, he was in his 90s. And I realized I can't displace him during showings. And this was also during COVID. He didn't want people coming in and out of the house because he was older.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to buy this house. So I offered to buy it from him. And because he couldn't even move into the nursing facility until he got the money from the sale of his home to pay for the nursing facility. And I told him just to leave all of his stuff there because they said, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And I just said, I'll take care of it. So I Facebook marketplaced everything. Mm-hmm. And then I just Venmo'd the daughter all the money. So we bought it, I want to say like $280. And we've now had, I think, 3 tenants in it. And it's only been 3 years. And it's now $425. And our mortgage on it is less than $200. And I thought, okay, you know what? I don't really see that area. I mean, it's kind of like every home
like
has
it's
a cap.
capped out.
Yeah,
Yep.
like every house has a cap. And I try to explain this a lot to first-time home buyers. Like, yes, you can buy an established area, but you can get more for your money further out, and there's more growth. Mm-hmm. So we're going to sell that house, and we're going to take a big portion of that and buy another property where I think it's going to be newer construction. I'm actually thinking about maybe getting a townhome in Harvest where we got my sister-in-law a rental.
If I were
there.
To buy an investment property right now, it would be
because I'm already familiar with that area because we already do a lot of investments in there.
It's gonna
rent. And then we're gonna pocket another, big chunk of change, and we might go to Hawaii.
Or you're gonna give it to your friend Bree to put in a POOL
a pool
in her new house.